Quick note here in the beginning, I apologize for my stuffy nature because I think I'm coming down with a cold, but I gotta get this review out there, so I apologize for the annoying voice. RiME is a game I've been excited for a really long time. I remember when the title was a PS4 exclusive and they showed off the first footage and I was like, holy moly, this game looks amazing. It reminded me a lot of like Journey and Shadow of the Colossus or Ico, however you say it. And I love those games, and I was like, well, if RiME's trying to do stuff that those games did, I'm definitely on board, because those are some of my favorites. And then things just went quiet on the game for a really long time, and then out of nowhere, we found out that it wasn't going to be a PS4 exclusive anymore. So it was going multi-platform, and then a little bit after that, we found out it was going to Switch, and then after another delay, the game is just about to release on Switch. So I played through the PS4 version start to finish, and I look back on the game with fond memories, but I also don't believe it hit the goals that I was thinking it would. Maybe I made my own personal goals too lofty for the experience, pushing it up against like Ico or Shadow of the Colossus or Journey, because those are high watermarks for the game industry in general. So, you know, maybe I was expecting too much from RiME to begin with. And I don't want to say it's a bad game, because I don't think it's a bad game at all. It's just, I wanted it to be better. That's the only thing I can say about it. But when I do look back on it, I have fond memories, and there are some elements of it that I find to be absolutely spectacular. And those elements are still here in the Switch version, but unfortunately, the experience just doesn't run as well. RiME kicks off with a boy washing up on a beach, and he doesn't know why he's there, and obviously you don't know why he's there. And the game is about him exploring different landscapes to try and understand what's going on, how what happened, and you solve puzzles along the way, and you meet a couple creatures or characters too that'll help tie things together. But mainly the game is about exploration and puzzle solving, and it all creates a really interesting, like, calming yet eerie mood, and I really appreciate that. As far as mood goes, I feel like RiME does an excellent job of matching up with some of those other titles I mentioned earlier. The mood is really engaging, and it kept me interested in wanting to like explore what was coming up next or what's around the corner. So the mood is something I absolutely love, and that's only heightened by the game's soundtrack, which is absolutely phenomenal. It's a really great soundtrack. It helps really heighten the experience throughout the entire game, so I can't say enough good things about the soundtrack. That mood and soundtrack are, without a doubt, my favorite parts of RiME. As I said, you're solving a lot of puzzles along the way, and the puzzles, for the most part, are pretty much common fodder for these type of games. You push blocks, or you climb things, or you push blocks and climb things, or you line up, like, different pieces of a puzzle to make a full picture and stuff like that. Again, not bad, just not super engaging or super interesting. There are maybe a couple along the way where I was like, oh, that's a neat way of doing things, but by and large, I felt like I'd done a lot of these things before, and they are what they are. I don't think they ruin the experience, but I was hoping for a little bit more. So as long as you know what you're getting into, and you're, like I said, the vibe of the game helped push me through those sections, but I wasn't ever bored, just that I was hoping for more. The controls can be a little quirky, but that's across all versions of the game, or I guess I should say PS4 and Switch, because those are the two I've played. And it's kind of, again, par for the course for these types of games. The characters have a lot of fluid animations to them, but sometimes those animations get in the way of interacting with objects. So you might run up something to run up to something like a object you want to interact with, a block or a button or whatever, and you hit the button and nothing happens, and you're like, what the hell, what's going on? But it's because you didn't let an animation fully play out, so you could be jamming on the action button and nothing happens because you gotta wait for the animation to stop. I imagine most people will get used to this quirk and play around it, and again, this is something that's part of the genre, and should it be like that? No, but that's what it is, so I understand it, and I'm maybe more forgiving of it than I should be, but it is something I imagine some people will experience and be like, I don't understand why it's like this. You're right, it shouldn't be like that, it's just I've played a lot of games like this, and that's what I've come to expect from them. Lately, I feel like I've been talking a lot about frame rate and visuals in games, and that's not really who I am, but with RiME, it's important to talk about. So when I played the game on PS4, there were hiccups and stutters in the gameplay, sudden stops and stuff like that, but they weren't anywhere near as big as they are in the Switch version, and also in the PS4 version, they didn't really bother me. Here, they just happen so often that it is a bother. And unfortunately, it seems like the roughest parts come in the opening stage of the game. So that's terrible because people's first impression of the game will be, oh my god, is the whole game going to stutter like this? And yes, the whole game does. There are moments where the game stutters and stops, but they get better as the game goes on because the areas aren't as large. But yeah, it really kills the vibe of the game, and as I said earlier, vibe is one of the best things RiME has going for it. So when you have a frame rate issue or technical hiccups that come in and ruin that, it's really hard to tell you what to think of the game. Like, I don't know. I'm coming at a place where I was like, I played the PS4 version, I played the Switch version, so I'm comparing those two. If somebody was like, I don't have any other platform but the Switch, and I really want to play RiME, should I play it? I'd be conflicted because I know there's an interesting experience in there, but the technical difficulties on the Switch version really hurt it, so I'd have to really explain to that person, listen, there's going to be things that take you out of the experience, or at least took me out, because there's just technical hurdles that haven't been overcome, and the game suffers for it. As long as you're okay with that kind of stuff, then I guess you should check it out, but maybe otherwise you want to hang back. I guess the best way to convey my feelings about RiME on Switch is to look at Doom on Switch. Now, Doom on Switch is the worst version of the game when it comes to resolution and frame rate. But the game is still fun. The core experience is intact, and the port is really well done. There are a couple technical hiccups here and there, but nothing that ruined the experience. So for me, the core gameplay and experience of Doom was retained for the Switch version. Now, when you talk about RiME, I feel like the technical issues here are so big that they ruin the experience. And as I said earlier, I really feel the vibe of RiME is one of the best things it has going for it, and these technical issues with the stutters and the hiccups take away from that. So it's very tough to recommend a Switch version of RiME. It all depends on how willing you are to put up with that stuff and look past those things. Because in there is an interesting and unique experience. It is a pretty experience. I had fun with it. And like I said, I was left with fond memories after the PS4 version. I think there's a fantastic soundtrack, and that's retained here too. So it wasn't the best game to begin with on any platform, but the issues with the Switch version really, really hurt it. So it's a shame, because I think it's worth checking out in some ways, but overall, yeah, the real technical issues here have done a number on the game and really take away from it all. Hey guys, RMC here from Go Nintendo. If you like what you saw in the video, why don't you give us a thumbs up and maybe even subscribe? We'd love to have you. If you want to see what else we're up to, you can check out GoNintendo.com for 24-hour Nintendo news. You can visit us on Facebook at facebook.com/GoNintendo. You can check us out on Twitter at twitter.com/GoNintendoTweet. And we're even over on Instagram at instagram.com/GoNintendo. I put all the links in the description just to make it easier for you guys to follow. Thanks a lot!